Continuing from the previous episode 891. Dong, dong, dong. A burst of beating came out of the casting table. This senior has such a terrifying technique. At this time, Xuanyin opened his eyes, while Mu Yingying next to him looked at Master Lu in the casting table in surprise and said. Although Mu Yingying didn't know how powerful the casting master was, but from Master Lu's subtle technique, she also knew that the fairy sword that Xuanyin presented to her was undergoing some extremely ingenious changes at this time. The source of it was that Master Lu injected the refined yin-yang mysterious Iron Mother into the immortal sword. This matter is simple to say, but it is extremely difficult to inject the yin-yang mysterious Iron Mother into the fairy sword without destroying the original spirituality of the fairy sword. Bang bang bang. A series of pleasant voices came out, and then the fist-sized red yin-yang black Iron Mother was skillfully integrated into the fairy sword by Master Lu. The broken fairy sword was originally fiery red. After all, it stayed in the molten world for too long and was contaminated with the power of the molten slurry, but at this time, when Master Lu reintegrated the yin-yang mysterious Iron Mother into the fairy sword, the fiery red gradually degenerated, and even turned into a touch of silver angelica, which is quite beautiful. It can also change the shape of the immortal sword. At this time, it was Xuanyin's turn to be shocked. The shape of an immortal sword was destined from the moment it was cast, and it was never heard that it could be modified, but this Master Lu could actually change the shape of the immortal sword, which shocked Xuanyin. Although there is credit for the yin-yang mysterious Iron Mother, Master Lu's attainment in casting has probably reached a peak. Xuanyin couldn't help but said. The two nodded, then stopped talking and watched quietly, otherwise it would affect Master Lu and everything would be for nothing. Ha ha ha. After a while, the always serious Master Lu suddenly burst out laughing, with a certain madness in his voice, even madness. How many years? Finally let me wait for this step. Shenjian, born. Shenjian, there is a spirit. Master Lu roared with a smile. After speaking, the yin-yang profound Iron Mother in the palm of the hand had already used 2/3, leaving just under 3/3. And Master Lu used the yin and yang black Iron Mother, which is 2/3 the size of the fist, to not only recast the fairy sword, but even create a very fitting scabbard for it. Rao is like this, and there is still 1/3 left. Tempering. Master Lu understood that now the final step has been reached, and whether he can successfully gather spirits depends on this step. As Master Lu's voice just fell, a puddle of water on the casting platform roared directly towards the fairy sword. Shi. At this time, in the fairy sword, because Master Lu had rejoined the yin-yang mysterious Iron Mother, the extremely hot temperature was attacked by the water, and a white mist instantly emerged from the sword body of the fairy sword. The white mist seemed to possess intelligence, extremely terrifying. Condense it for me. Seeing this, Master Lu was extremely vigilant, and then snorted coldly. The power of life and death in his body instantly flew away against the white mist. The white mist seemed to realize something, and fled around frantically. Since I created you, there is no saying that you can't conquer it. Looking at Xuanyin's dull eyes, Master Lu hurriedly said, and then the power of life and death directly turned into a huge palm. Facing the white, the fog grabbed wildly. White Mist originally wanted to run away, but Master Lu was too strong, and he didn't escape very far just now, and was directly caught by Master Lu. Give me in. Master Lu grabbed the white mist and was overjoyed, then threw it directly at the immortal sword that had cooled down. Woo! The white mist made a sound, and seemed to be very dissatisfied with Master Lu's rude behavior, but even so, it was directly thrown into the sword by Master Lu. At this time, the fairy sword had cooled down, and the body of the blade covered in baize matched Mu Yingying quite a bit, and the scabbard on the side was also pure white, which was even more imposing. However, on the body of the immortal sword, mysterious runes appeared on it, which made people shudder. Sword, there is a spirit. The next moment, Master Lu said directly to the immortal sword that had cooled down, and then the white mist disappeared directly into the immortal sword, and the immortal sword vibrated immediately. Wing Om. For some unknown reason, the immortal sword made a terrifying vibration, and immediately flew around the casting table without being controlled by Master Lu. Damn, this thing seems a little out of control. It seems that the power of the yin-yang profound Iron Mother is still underestimated. Seeing this, Master Lu could only hold back slightly. After all, at this stage, the immortal sword has already been tempered. Wing Om. Btth's immortal sword flew around, and after a while, it came to Mu Yingying's side, and then gave out a breath that was very suitable for her. Mu Yingying was hesitant to walk by this sudden scene, then looked at Xuanyin and said, "This is the immortal sword recognizing its master. Little girl, you are very good. You have been recognized by immortal sword." Master Lu naturally laughed when he heard the words. For Master Lu, it's not because of the powerful weapons he owns. The casting master is just to forge a more powerful weapon, just like a pharmacist who is generally responsible for refining higher-level medicinal pills. Take it. With this immortal sword, your strength will also rise to a higher level in the future. Xuanyin said with a smile. Xuanyin could feel that the power of this immortal sword was definitely not simple, and even it was a bit difficult for him. Moreover, the white mist just now was supposed to be the sword spirit created by Master Lu Yun forging. A fairy sword with an artifact and an immortal sword without an artifact are far less powerful. It's natural. Don't look at who made it. Master Lu suddenly said. As for the rest of the yin-yang mysterious Iron Mother, it was put away by himself. Since the immortal sword has been completed, then there can be no name. How about giving a name to the little girl? At this time, Master Lu suddenly said, "What's your name?" Mu Yingying thought for a while, then grabbed the blade of Btth and waved it a few times. Suddenly, a sharp sword energy appeared in front of the three of them. The body of the sword is like Angelica. Easy. Why don't you just call it Frost Snow? Mu Yingying's eyelashes twitched slightly, her eyes kept rolling. She thought for a while and said to Xuanyin, obviously asking for Xuanyin's opinion. Frost Snow, the sword is like a man. Okay. When Master Lu heard the words, he immediately clapped his hands in amazement. His expression was extremely wonderful. The weapons that I made by myself were originally named by myself, but the two guys in front of me have different identities, so I can only let them name them. Let's go. Xuanyin nodded slightly, and immediately disappeared with Mu Yingying on the second floor of the underground palace. The direction where the two disappeared was the third floor of the underground palace. However, at this time, Master Lu was immersed in his own joy, and naturally he had no time to care about Xuanyin and the others. Such a good fairy sword, the predecessor was soaked in flames and molten lava. If someone with the fire attribute uses it, it might be enough to slash people with a sword. Ha ha ha, I didn't think that my Master Lu could also contain spirits, and it's not far from the immortal level casting master. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 892. With the departure of Xuanyin and the two, the second floor of the underground palace also returned to calm, but Master Nalu is still in the dark. He doesn't know what his face will look like after he understands the truth of the matter. But even so, Master Nalu has already obtained a small part of the yin-yang profound Iron Mother, and I am afraid that a powerful divine weapon will be born from his hands in the near future. The powerhouse on the third floor of this underground palace is the 8-star Do Emperor Consummation, and according to what the Guardian said, this underground palace is the habitat that King Xuanyin created for them. In return, they only need to help when the royal family of Xuanyin is in danger. Fen Tian and his party headed deeper into the underground palace, and then they were on their way. Zhu Jin said to Fen Tian, obviously suspicious of what the Guardian said just now. After all, Zhu Jin and King Xuanyin are old rivals. He knows that King Xuanyin will stop at nothing to achieve his goals. I'm afraid this underground palace is a secret of King Xuanyin. Besides, this underground palace was originally the domain of the Tianmuyu family, but it was occupied by the Xuanyin royal family, and the Tianmuyu family was also exterminated by the Xuanyin emperor. So I'm afraid no one knows the secrets of this underground palace better than the Tianmuyu clan. It's a pity. Fen Tian shook his head and said, obviously the meaning of the pity is obvious, but the secret of this underground palace is probably only known to the Tianmuyu clan. But if today the Fish clan has been destroyed, if there is a Tianmu Fish clan, I am afraid that the intricate terrain in the underground palace can avoid encountering enemies. The Tianmu Fish clan is indeed. Zhu Jin shook his head slightly when he heard the words. However, the two elders of heaven and earth, Mu Shuji and Qing Lao, were quite calm, but the master of the temple, Lingming Shengsheng, was unwilling to leave. What exactly is on the fourth floor of this underground palace? How can there be a feeling that is familiar to me? It feels so intimate, it seems. Ling Mengsheng said suspiciously, but at this moment, his heart was beating vigorously and vigorously. Mengsheng, what's the matter with you? Fen Tian was the first to notice Ling Mengsheng's surprise, and immediately said, I don't know why, but this fourth floor actually gives me a familiar feeling. Ling Mengsheng's heavy brows were tightly locked, and he stopped, staring at the fourth floor of the underground palace. A feeling that is familiar to you? Fen Tian muttered slightly when he heard the words. Obviously with his enormous strength, he must have discovered something. Go to the entrance of the fourth floor first. Not long after, although Fen Tian felt extremely strange in his heart, he was still not sure. If I feel it is good according to myself, I am afraid that the knot in Reimu Sheng's heart can be solved this time. Ling Mengsheng agreed, but he had never seen Fen Tian so eager, so he said immediately. The two elders of Tiandi and the others also looked at each other, and immediately followed. The underground palace has a top-to-bottom appearance, and each lower floor is a ladder with links. Passing through the third floor of the underground palace, and then came to the fourth floor of the underground palace, a circle of colorless halo appeared, and then many strong people also knew that this was the entrance to the fourth floor, and immediately stepped in. Peefed. With a sound, many powerhouses fell directly into the halo of the fourth floor. The halo was extremely soft, and there was no trace of destruction, which made everyone extremely puzzled. However, many of the powerhouses are not ordinary people. They regained their calm in a short period of time, and then continued to move forward. It stands to reason that in the underground palace, every floor should be heavily guarded. How could this fourth floor? The doubts in everyone's hearts were not over, and their eyes suddenly lit up, and then a beautiful scene appeared. What appeared in front of everyone was a huge river. The river is divided into upstream and downstream, but in the middle, there is a very spectacular waterfall that looks like a gulf. That aura, just standing beside the river, can make people shudder. The fourth floor of this underground palace is really mysterious. At this time, Zhu Jin couldn't help but say something. With the special spiritual power of the Do Formation Master, Zhu Jin could feel that there were dangers everywhere. Someone is coming. A huge river appeared in front of everyone, but everyone was in the mud next to the river. At this time, a few faint sounds from the bottom of the river suddenly sounded. Strange voice sounded. Even Fen Tian, who was as powerful as Do Xian, didn't notice it. Where is the princess now? Because the bottom of the river was slightly turbid, it was difficult to see clearly. At this time, the voice sounded. The princess is still behind the waterfall. Another figure said, quickly pick up the princess. I didn't expect that my king hid Princess Zan Muqing so deeply, and was still found by that *** bastard, Ling Mengsheng, said the voice. Brother, you mean? At this time, another figure suddenly understood something. Go! Among these 7 people, some of them are too terrifying, and I'm afraid I'm not even an opponent. After the voice finished, it calmed down, but another figure was slowly flowing in the river, and then go directly and silently towards the waterfall. Is it an illusion? The river stirred slightly, and Fen Tian glanced at it vaguely. After he didn't find anything wrong, he didn't care too much. There should be something in the waterfall that is going down the river. Fen Tian's eyes were extremely sharp, and at a glance, he noticed that there seemed to be something behind the waterfall that was going down the river. Where is the source of that breath? At this time, Ling Mengsheng suddenly shouted. A very familiar aura came from behind the waterfall. At this time, the upper reaches of the river were several hundred meters higher than everyone else, and the lower reaches were equal to everyone else, but there seemed to be something behind the 100-meter waterfall that cut off the river and descended downstream. Seeing this, everyone cautiously approached the river, trying to find out. But behind the huge waterfall and the river, it is a unique place. This is a huge space of hundreds of square meters. Bamboo buildings and some expensive utensils all symbolize that there are people living here. In the bamboo building, there was a woman at this time. The woman was dressed in simple clothes, but the clothes were wrapped with golden threads. She was obviously not an ordinary woman. She sat slightly in the bamboo building, her eyes were empty, and she seemed to be dead. Generally, in front of the woman, there is a scroll of pictures. In the scroll, there is a burly man holding 2 little girls with milky voices. The 2 little girls are laughing around the man, looking very intimate. Princess, it's time to take the medicine. At this time, a maid appeared from outside the bamboo building. The maid opened the door gently and held a delicate tea set in her palm, which was obviously used to hold something. I'm not sick. I don't want to eat it. Pu Yanzi didn't even look at the maid, and said directly, and then the jade-like hand was holding the picture scroll, and he couldn't put it down. However, it is strange to say that this woman's body is full of weakness, and her breath is quite wrong. Damn, this Princess Zan Mukching really has a lot of things to do. The voice just at the bottom of the river slowly sounded a few dozen meters away from the bamboo building, and then turned into a figure and walked towards the bamboo building. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 893. Dong dong dong. There were 3 soft knocks on the door, and then a figure slowly appeared outside the bamboo building. My lord. The servant girl inside saw that Princess Zan didn't take medicine and was at a loss when this lord happened to come, and it was considered a relief for her, so she immediately went to open the door. Zhao King, thank you for your hard work, let's go down first. The man walking towards him said a little, and immediately took the potion from the maid's hand. Yes. The maid saluted the man gently, and then immediately exited. This bamboo building is hidden in the waterfall, few people will find it, and only Princess Xuanyin lives here. Princess Zan. The man watched the maid leave, took a slight step forward, and said, Xuanyin, Xuanyang, when will your 2 brothers let me out? The slender woman saw the maid leave and stood up to face the man, but her face was extremely pale, and she said to the man with anger, Xuanyin and Xuanyang are the 2 people who were just at the bottom of the river. The 2 are brothers, although they have nothing to do with the Xuanling royal family, but when they were about to die, it was King Xuanling who rescued them, and King Xuanling raised the 2 at a great cost, so the 2 came together. Falling down here to guard the 4th floor of the underground palace for King Xuanling, and secondly, it is also to protect this Princess Xuanmuqing. Xuanyin, eldest brother, a 9-star Do with a change of strength. Xuanyang, brother, the strength of the 8-star Do Emperor is complete, and he is only 1 step away from the 9-star Do Emperor. Princess, why are you so troubled? The person who came was his younger brother Zan Yang. Zan Yang, who was dressed in blue and had a rather well-proportioned figure, said with a smile on his face. What do I think you don't know? My diseases are all caused by him. If you want to cure my disease, let me go and find him. Zan Amu's eyes were slightly filled with tears, thinking of the 2 in the arms of the powerful man the next day. Little girl, she is in great pain. As a parent, how can you not be around your daughter? Princess, it's not really your big brother's fault. If King Xuanling didn't say that you had an accident when you were giving birth, and then faked a scene to deceive everyone in the Fenxiang Pavilion, I'm afraid. Xuanyang said slowly, but how heartbroken he will be when he hears the news of my death. At this moment, Zan Emu's mind was filled with that figure. That figure is the current Fenxiang Pavilion's Hall Master Ling Mengsheng. Ling Mengsheng was not at Zan Mukching's side when Zan Mukching gave birth to Ling Zan because of the mission of burning incense pavilion. The Ling Zan and the dead Zan Mu leaned their bodies. Although Reimu Sheng never believed that it was a fact, the fact was in front of him and he had to admit it. Princess, when you were giving birth, you were infiltrated by that *** thing. King Xuanling was for your own good. Ling Mengsheng is jealous of the power of evil. If he knows about this, I'm afraid. Zan Yang continued. Yep. 2. Mengsheng is always a stubborn temper. Zan Mu heard the ** thing Zan Yang said, and immediately couldn't help stroking his white forehead. At this moment, a conspicuous bloodstain slowly appeared on the forehead. In the bloodstain, there is an extremely evil aura. That aura is different from the ghostly and eerie aura, but it is like an alien race, extremely evil. If Xuanyin were here, he would have found out that it was a blood curse. Moreover, the power of this blood curse seems to belong to the blood demon family. Princess, King Xuanling wants to see you. After a while, seeing Zan Mukching calm down slightly, he spoke immediately. Brother Emperor? Why is he looking for me? Zan Mukching was surprised at this moment. Back then, when he was engulfed by the ** blood curse, even his own imperial brother had no choice, so he faked the fact that he died in childbirth. It's more than 20 years. I don't know, but it should be related to the blood curse on your body. Zan Yang also knew something about the blood curse. Based on the relationship between the 2 brothers and King Xuanling, it is naturally not difficult to guess that the cooperation between King Xuanling and the foreign evil race is largely to solve this blood curse. Although the blood curse of the alien race can give them a lot of great power, every time it is used, it will intensify and devour their human nature. The murderous tool of the evil race. Therefore, King Xuanling's abandonment of cooperation with the Ghost World and the Soul Clan should be related to the blood curse. Is this statement true? Zhan Muqing heard the words, and immediately cheered up 20%. As long as he can solve the blood curse in his body, then his imperial brother will no longer stop him from finding Reimu. When he thought of seeing his lover and daughter, Zhan Muqing's pretty face filled with a smile. Let's go! At this time, Zhan Muqing was probably rushing to drink the potion, and then headed outside. Go! Seeing this, Xuanyin followed directly. According to what eldest brother said, the purpose of these people should be the princess, and there is one person who looks very similar to Ling Mingsheng. So they must not be allowed to succeed. After Xuanyin finished speaking, a burst of dazzling vitality emerged from his body, and then he wrapped Princess Zhan Muqing. Xuanyin, what are you doing? I'm the princess, Zhan Mu said angrily when he saw this. For more than 20 years, I have been in the bamboo building all day long. If I didn't have hope in my heart, I'm afraid that I would have been close to collapse. Princess, Xuanyin couldn't refute either, so he could only put away his life force. Reading link to www.youcanshu.com. I've been in the bamboo building for more than 20 years, and now I finally have the opportunity to go out and get some fresh air. I won't give you this? Zhan Muqing's pale face was extremely displeased. Small dare not. Xuanyin could only say helplessly, and immediately followed. However, at this time, Zhan Muqing and the others came towards the exit of the waterfall, while Fen Tian and his party were slowly floating at the top of the huge waterfall in the sky, trying to find the entrance of the waterfall. Have you found it? Zhu Jin seems to be extremely bad at water, so even if he uses his strength to float at the mouth of this turbulent waterfall, there is no sign of doing anything. Not yet. Fen Tian shook his head and said, I don't know why, but this waterfall seems extremely strange, giving Fen Tian a feeling of being unable to see through. Neither do we. The two elders of heaven and earth also said helplessly. I don't have it here either. Qing Lao and Mu Shuji said at the same time. I'll go down and have a look. Reimu Sheng heard the words, nodded secretly, and then headed towards the bottom of the waterfall. And just when Reimu Sheng had just descended into the middle of the waterfall, an unpleasant voice sounded instantly. Xuanyin, this idiot! How can you take the princess out of the front exit? Xuanyin, who was floating at the bottom of the river, said directly. What is that? Reimu Sheng descended into the middle of the waterfall and seemed to stop, then stared at a stream in the middle of the waterfall, as if something was about to appear. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 894. Pavilion Master. Will Ling Mingsheng be alright? The crowd at this time, standing at the top of the waterfall, looked at Ling Mingsheng downstream. The old man couldn't help saying. It should be alright. Fen Tian said, and then his eyes were fixed on Ling Mingsheng to prevent any accident. However, Ling Mingsheng's temperament and even talent are probably the best among us. If it wasn't for that, I'm afraid his current strength would have long ago. At this time, Zhu Jin suddenly spoke up. For Reimu, even if he is as arrogant as bamboo embers, he has to admire him. Ling Mingsheng is known as the powerhouse in the entire Burning Incense Pavilion, except for the pavilion owner, who has the best chance to advance to Do Xian. At this time, his strength has reached the pinnacle of Do Di, and if he hadn't been troubled by Zhan Muqing, I'm afraid it has already reached a half-immortal or even a fighting immortal. After everyone finished speaking, they quieted down, but they didn't sit still. They walked around trying to find out what was different about the waterfall. Why is the waterfall here so different? What is this? Ling Mingsheng looked suspiciously at the rushing waterfall in front of him, which was different from other places. Go! Boom boom boom! Just when Ling Mingsheng's palm came into contact with the rushing water current, a strong force came from the water current. Obviously, even Ling Mingsheng, who was as powerful as the peak of Do Di, was struggling a little. Just as the palm of his hand was soaked in the waterfall water, a huge force was instantly mobilized, and he carefully investigated whether there was any difference in the place in front of him. What? Here? Is there a secret passage? At this time, Ling Mingsheng was also basically certain that the place he was in must be the mysterious place leading to the waterfall. That mysterious place has an aura that makes him extremely familiar. It seems that there is only one of his own two daughters, but Ling Mengsheng can guarantee that the two daughters are definitely not here, but apart from the two daughters, Ling Mengsheng really can't remember. How can anyone make themselves feel this way? It's too late. If this goes on like this, I'm afraid this guy will discover the place behind the waterfall. Although the strength of this pedestrian is unfathomable, for the safety of the princess, we can only take action. Xuanyin, who was hiding at the bottom of the river, said directly with a gloomy face. Come in. Ling Mengsheng is indeed a daring person, and he was ready to rush into it in an instant to find out, but just when Ling Mengsheng slightly urged the power in his body to prepare for action, a rushing water flowed impressively from the front of him. The waterfall gushed out and attacked itself. Humph! Although Ling Mengsheng had a knot in his heart, he was still at the peak of Btth's strength. Faced with such a simple blow, he simply waved his sleeves and disappeared. Who? Get out! At this moment, Ling Mengsheng's heart was filled with that mysterious aura, and then his mood couldn't help but fluctuate a little. Exit, this is not where you should come. Xuanyin, who launched the attack, did not show up, but with the help of some special power, he hid in the waterfall full of the sky and said to Reimu Sheng. Xuanyin's strength is already that of a 9-star Btth, but even so, facing the middle-aged man in front of him, he still has a feeling of powerlessness, so Xuanyin naturally doesn't want to show up rashly. What's behind this waterfall? Let me go in and have a look. Ling Mengsheng naturally noticed that the person who was hiding aura in front of him should be the guardian of the 4th floor of the underground palace, but he was not too surprised. After all, judging from the person's aura, his strength it should not be as strong as myself, so I am not afraid. It's a forbidden place inside. The person who stepped in. Death. Xuanyin's cold voice sounded slowly, followed by bursts of cold-killing intent. Die? It's hard to say who will kill the deer. Since you are protecting this place like this, then I have to go in and have a look. Except, Ling Mengsheng finished speaking, without giving Xuanyin, who was hidden in the waterfall, the slightest chance to breathe. His palms suddenly lifted, and a dazzling black and white force of life and death merged out, and immediately faced the waterfall. Water flow suddenly shot. Crash! The terrifying attack caused waves of huge waves, and then the huge waves fell directly from the air. The terrifying power might be able to crush an 8-star Btth Emperor into serious injuries. What's the situation? Fen Tian had just noticed the sound of fighting under the waterfall, and he didn't stop for a while, and his figure quickly moved towards the bottom of the waterfall. And Zhu Jin and the others all looked at each other and followed directly. The power of life and death? A powerhouse at the pinnacle of Emperor Btth? At this time, Xuanyin's expression was extremely ugly, even if it was hidden in the waterfall. Just now, Ling Mengsheng's powerful blow seemed to be easily dodged by him, but Xuanyin knew that if Ling Mengsheng in front of him wanted to kill him, I'm afraid which blow would kill him directly. The blow just now seemed to be just a warning from Reimu to him. It was just a warning to you just now. Your strength should not be enough to be my opponent. So you'd better retreat. Don't worry, I, Ling Mengsheng, have never been embarrassed by others. I just entered to prove something. After Ling Mengsheng finished speaking, the power of life and death in black and white immediately emerged, and then he was ready to go towards the entrance of the waterfall. Sure enough, it's Ling Mengsheng. I can't imagine that his strength has soared to the peak of Btth, but no. Even if you can't beat it, you will have to fight. At this time, a hint of determination appeared on Xuanyin's handsome face, and then the dazzling power of life and death suddenly emerged, and then he was ready to launch a terrifying attack. On the power of black and white, the power of Black Death is extremely weak, and it is obviously not a long time to step into the 9-star Btth Emperor. Go to hell! Xuanyin's palm contained an extremely powerful attack, and he attacked directly at Reimu, who was about to enter the entrance of the waterfall. You're courting death. Although Ling Mengsheng said that he had a good temper, he had already warned Xuanyin, and Xuanyin insisted on sending him to death. Ling Mengsheng raised his palm, and a powerful fighting technique emerged in an instant, and a wave like a fire dragon instantly appeared in the palm of his hand. Formed in the middle, that is, attacking Xuanyin. Stop it! Just as Ling Mengsheng's eyes flashed with a hint of chill, as he was about to solve Xuanyin, a sweet female voice suddenly sounded from behind the waterfall. And with the sound of the female voice, Reimu Sheng's heart beat violently, and then his eyes turned towards the waterfall. Where, there is a beautiful shadow, Qianying's simple clothes are inlaid with golden lace, and on the pale face, there are a few crystal tears emerging from the tip of the eyes. This look is clearly exactly the same as the person he thinks about day and night. Qinger? Ling Mengsheng seemed to have forgotten what he was doing, and his eyes were obsessed with Zhan Muqing's position. Tomorrow is free for a limited time. If there is no accident, it should be the 20th update on the weekend and the day after tomorrow. Please ask for a ticket. End of this chapter.